I went online and looked up the instructions for the W-4 form, which I signed when I started my current job. I found out not only that it needs to be renewed every year as explained in the instructions. Under the explanation and purpose, I saw that it says, so that your employer can withhold the correct federal income tax from your pay. Let's look at this a little. In order for any person or any company to do something with my property, they need to obtain a granted permission. I asked myself, how did I grant my employer permission to do anything with my property? But where is this requirement to withholding coming from? The answer had to be so innocent that it bypassed my consciousness. As I continued to read the instructions under purpose, I find the section labeled Exemption from Withholding. Wait, what did it say? The first bulleted item states that I had a right to a refund. It didn't say I got a full refund, just that I had a right to one. Interestingly enough, there must be a circumstance where my salary can be exempt from withholding. Oh yeah, I definitely want that, especially if I can find the law backing it up. But it also specified Publication 505, which I show below. Tax withholding. Salaries and wages. Income tax is withheld from the pay of most employees, period. It explains the income tax is withheld from the pay of most employees. Wait a minute, it didn't say all employees, just most employees. I need to find the exclusion list of employees that were not required. This question led me on another journey. Since there is a condition of exemption listed in the instructions on the W-4 form, I wonder what that meant. I read that exemption explanation over and over again to let it sink in, because my mind was saying death and taxes, the two sure things in life. But these instructions were from the IRS, and of course the law allowing this exists somewhere. I began my discovery with searching online for the definition of tax exemption. I searched for the general term and found that it means tax exemption is a monetary exemption which reduces taxable income. Tax-exempt status can provide complete relief from taxes, something I want. Reduced rates or tax on only a portion of items. Tax exemption also refers to removal from taxation of a particular item rather than a deduction. That came from Wikipedia. That was comforting, but I need a legally respected source. I heard of Black's Law Dictionary and went to their website and found what a legal description of it is. A term that is applied to income that is not taxable. That's what I'm looking for. So I learned the word's definition and a specific exempt condition exists. Now I needed to find the ultimate law supporting it. By ultimate law, I mean I need to find the related United States Code statute that either supports, defines, or references this exempt conditional status. I searched for payroll withholding, Title 26, U.S.C. How did I know to search for Title 26 U.S.C.? Because I have previously searched for the Internal Revenue Code. This search result brought up the following result, highlighting the important stuff. The two title descriptions disappoint me at first, but upon reading through the actual law, I uncovered the prizes I was looking for. I find them in the second item listed as Section 3402. As I read through Section 3402, two different paragraphs referenced by N and letter P as in Peter absolutely define the law I'm looking for. N states employees incurring no income tax liability. Notwithstanding any other provision of this section, an employer shall not be required to deduct and withhold any tax under this chapter. Wow, in the very first line after the comma, the law specifically states an employer shall not be required to deduct and withhold any tax. If there is an effect with respect to such payment, a withholding allowing certificate. So that's the W-4 form. Aha! Here's the permission I granted my employer. Eureka! And it goes on to say, that form needs to be furnished to the employer by the employee, certifying that the employee, number 1, incurred no liability for income tax imposed under Subtitle A for his preceding taxable year, and number 2, anticipates he will incur no liability for income tax imposed under Subtitle A for his current taxable year. But wait a minute, where did I see this wording before? Wait, I want first to look at what P says down below. Voluntary withholding agreements? Voluntary withholding agreements? A. In general, if at the time a specified federal payment is made to any person, a request by such person is in effect that such payment be subject to withholding under this chapter. And then it goes on to say, such payment shall be treated as if it were a payment of wages by an employer to an employee. Another wow. The first line in A specifies the source of payment my check should be coming from in order for voluntary withholding to occur. It specifically states if a federal payment is made to any person. I can't believe how much I misled myself in the past. And as I think about it, getting a reduced paycheck could be a disciplinary action resulting from my ignorance. As I let this new information sink in, I choose to get smart right away. I work for a private enterprise, not a federal enterprise, so according to this law, I can confidently claim the exempt status on the W-4, and also for my state's version of the W-4 representing the state I live in, if my state happens to have a payroll withholding form similar to the federal W-4 form. If my state does, I will need to do the same and put exempt in the proper place. But some states I discovered don't have an income tax. If you don't believe me, just Google it. After I found the absolute law involving payroll deductions from my paycheck, I quickly unvolunteered myself and ensured that I was getting the full amount of salary I deserved for myself and my family. I updated 2 new W forms properly, signed them, dated them, and handed one back to the HR department and kept one for myself, although the top instructions say to give one to your employer and keep the worksheet. I want to keep an original just to remind me how to fill it out the next year too. Wow. I can now pay off my bills, my college loan, my car loan, and other expenses. But I was still puzzled. Where do I remember seeing the specific wording in paragraph N above? I remember now. It was on the withholding allowance certificate, the W-4 form. Employees Withholding Allowance Certificate. In line 7, the 2 black dots underneath define the same wording, almost as in paragraph N of Title 26 U.S.C. Section 3402. The highlighted instructions mentioned earlier about the W-4 specifically told me which line to fill out, which I do above. I asked myself, why have I been allowing this to happen? Isn't the government supposed to teach me about this? The answer is no and no. It's not my government's job to teach me. It's up to me to learn it, because my government is for the people, of the people, and by the people. So I, as a people, did something about it. I'm so excited about what I just learned. But what can I do to help make America become great again? It starts with me, as one of the people. Heck, I can help out by giving myself a pay raise without costing my employer even one flat penny. Pay unto Caesar what really belongs to Caesar. Matthew 22, verse 21. I'm going to help America become great again by regaining this people's full paycheck, one people at a time. In my second video, I discovered how my employer's W-2 is actually wrong, not only from the standpoint of falsely stating I earned taxable wages, but from the fact that Congress defines a trade or a business as something completely different when it comes to income taxes. But shouldn't my employer know if I'm getting taxable wages or not? It all depends on how smart is that people running that business. The truth will be astonishing. Stay tuned in.